I'm Hailey for the Karns Network, and I'm with Coach Lee Warren of the Karns Beavers. Welcome, Coach, and thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, so you have this upcoming game against Central. How do you feel about it with their record being 7-2?
Yeah, they're a good football team. They've clinched the playoffs. They're led by a great quarterback and a bunch of seniors. Got some good athletes. It's going to be a tough task for us.
What do you think the challenge is going to be?
I think the level of athletes in their quarterback play. They got some great speed. They don't do anything fancy on defense, but they're pretty sound and get after you. And again, anytime you have a senior heavy group like that, there's always going to be just extra experience and talent.
Yeah. Moving on, though, from this upcoming game, it's the last game, which means the season is coming to an end. And looking back on the season, how would you sum it up?
Disappointing. I think one thing that we've tried to establish here the last 3 years is to raise the standard and expectation of what's acceptable and where we want to be, and having 3 or 4 wins is still not where we want to be. We missed the playoffs. That's not where we want to be. So for us, it's disappointing. Our expectation is every year is going to be to be 500 or better and compete in the playoffs. We came up short in both those aspects. So for us, it's been disappointing.
And your last 3 years of coaching, which year would you say has been the best?
Probably this year, honestly. Even though we came up short, seeing a lot of growth in our players, a lot of growth in all 3 phases of the football game. The record doesn't show it, but we're more competitive. Our kids do a better job of competing for 4 quarters. So even though the record doesn't show, with wins and losses, I think if you look in deep at it, you can see improvement in all areas of our football team, which means that we're moving in the right direction, and that win-loss column is going to come for us.
Would you say that the players improved year by year?
Absolutely, yeah.
What was your favorite game to coach?
Probably Clinton. That was one that's a really hostile environment to play there. So that adds kind of a extra Friday night feeling to it. They've got it's a full stadium. It's a fun place to play, and that was just a really competitive ball game that we came down to the very last play of the game for us. So that one was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I remember being at that game, and it was a big outcome. I would say that it was a very competitive game, and it ended up turning out well for us.
Mm-hmm.
If you could give a piece of advice to your entire team as a whole, what would you say?
Cherish every moment. High school sports are a lot more than just wins and losses. You make relationships that last forever. You make memories that last forever. Ultimately, 3% of high school athletes go on to that next level. So most of them, this is where it ends for them. It's on Friday night. But we try to make a really conscious effort to make sure that we give everybody an experience that they're going to look back on, and regardless if they won or lost throughout the season, they can look back on their football career and know that they have no regrets, that they had a lot of fun, and made some friends, and made some great memories.
If you could speak specifically to the seniors, though, what would you say to them?
It's not over yet. I think that's kind of been our motto throughout the week. Is for them, it's almost a blessing to know that this is their last game, because they can truly kind of soak everything in. It's easy to know that you're eliminated from the postseason and to not care and to not play hard and just get through it. But our message has been to cherish each day, soak in the moments, go out and have fun.
Yes. And finally, looking ahead to the next season, what do you think the team as a whole needs to improve on to be more successful?
We look for our defense to continue to improve. We were really young this year on defense. We had a lot of sophomores playing a lot of football for us. So for us, we're going to need them to take a big step forward next year, bringing back a lot of experience for us to continue to move in the right direction.
Do you think that they'll improve, though?
That's the expectation. Everybody has to have a good offseason across the board, offense and defense. There's not a single person on our team that can't afford to go get bigger, faster, stronger this offseason. So regardless of how talented they are, regardless if they were a starter or not, everybody's going to have a good offseason for us to keep moving in the right direction.
What are your plans for off season? Like, what are you going to try and like hone on in the most and focus on?
Yeah, for us, I think it's important initially to not talk about football. I think it's important to build relationships, to have some fun, get after it in the weight room, and not talk, any scheme or this guy's going to play this position or whatever. I think, it's good to take a mental break from that aspect. We can't neglect the weight room by any means, though. So for us, it's going to be continue to work on our culture of being Ubuntu, being selfless, loving our teammates, and again, we got to go get bigger, faster, stronger.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you again for joining us, and here's to a good game this week against Central and all the hard work this team has put in. Go Beavers!
Go Beavers!